including healthcare reform. Jeremiah Byrd is the Deputy Director of Organizing America, and he joins me from Washington. Jeremiah, did you hear my conversation just a couple of moments ago with
I did.
Mark Williams?
I did. I heard your conversation with Mark. Thanks for having me, Tony.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Do you believe, I'm not going to have you respond directly to Mark because he can't respond back and then that gets messy and whatever else. Do you believe the president made a strategic mistake by not writing a reform bill, sending it to Congress and essentially asking Congress to improve it, make it better?
No, absolutely not. I think the president did exactly what the American people wanted him to do when they elected him overwhelmingly in November, which was to lead. And that's what he's done from the beginning. You know, from the beginning of the health insurance reform debate, the president has said over and over again, there's three things that we have to do. We've got to cut costs, we've got to ensure choice, that's both in your plans and in your doctors, and we've got to make sure that we have health insurance for all Americans. And I think that's what you see overwhelmingly across this country that people want and what Americans are behind. So I don't think there was a mistake at all in that. In fact, I think it was a wise thing to do, and it shows his true leadership.
Gotcha. I'm going to come back to that point in just a moment. But the first stop on this tour, what is it, 11 cities?
Was, yep, 11 cities.
Wednesday in Phoenix?
Yep.
What took you so long?
Well, we started, you know, the health insurance reform organizing. We kicked it off on June the 6th. You know, back before some of the Johnny-come-lately folks have come on recently. And, you know, we've had 12,000 events in every single congressional district in over 2,500 towns across this country promoting health insurance reform, giving our volunteers and those folks who support.
Well, Jeremiah, let me jump in here because,
Yeah, sure.
well, what's the issue? Is it marketing? Have you not done the job of marketing? You haven't been on television much in August. It looks like you've been pummeled during the town halls by people who have pounced on, frankly here, it seems to me, the vacuum left by the lack of a bill, and they filled the breach in many cases with some bad information.
Yeah, no, I think if you look at local media, if you look at the folks that, you know, the different local newspapers and local channels and what Congress is really looking at, you'll see overwhelmingly that people have been coming out, not only in these town halls, but in events way before recess even began, whether it was roundtables or going door to door to have individual conversations with Americans, just like we did on the campaign. And really, when you look at the town halls, what you'll see is just like Reston, Virginia earlier this week. You know, there were over 2,000 supporters of health insurance reform in that event. And you see that across the country in small towns and urban areas and suburban areas, that supporters of reform are far outnumbering opponents. And unfortunately, you know, some of the 24-hour cable news echo chamber has focused on the small minority of folks who have tried to disrupt
stop, just stop. You know, the criticism has been, and nothing against local television,
sure.
That's where I got going. But you know, if it's not on CNN, it didn't happen. Part of the criticism is you've been slow to organize. You've relied too heavily on the president's personal appeal to carry the day.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. Again, we've had 12,000 events, you know, since June. We've been all across this country. The bus tour is a great example. You know, we're having great stops. We just had over 1,000 people in Albuquerque last night, well over 1,000 people in Phoenix. Overwhelming support in these areas from local elected officials, from average citizens, folks coming out, sharing their stories about the skyrocketing cost of health care, talking about the need to end the status quo and get health insurance reform passed in 2009. And you've seen that across the country in town halls and in our events. And so I think we've been, we were on the front end of this. We weren't coming on late in the scene. And we've been out there talking to folks door to door, on the phones, around their kitchen tables, and everywhere that they go.
All right, so your bus tour is an 11-city tour over how many days?
It'll last right up until folks come back to Washington for the recess.
Okay, Tea Party Express. 33 stops.
Yeah, but no, so I think that's the problem. It's not about the bus tour. We also have over 2,000 events happening over the next couple of weeks. We've got events all across the country this weekend, all throughout the week next week. The bus tour is a small part of it.
All right, don't get angry.
Key. I'm not.
All right, don't get angry. All right, Jeremiah, I appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Hey, Tony, thanks for having me.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Even the man who manages our